In this video, I want to teach you the best settings and combination for CCI that is amazing. You're gonna learn a very accurate and profitable trading strategy, so make sure you watch this video until the end and let's get started. Before we start, if you like my contents, please support the channel by liking the video and subscribing to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Alright, we need to add 3 CCIs to our chart, but don't worry if you are on the free version of TradingView, because I will teach you how you can have 3 CCIs on your chart. Here you just need to click on indicators and search multiple CCI. We add this one, which is written by Ricardo Santos. Alright, this indicator automatically adds 7 CCI with different length, but we only need 3 CCIs with the special settings that we want to make. So here we go to the settings of the indicator, and here in the style tab we remove the extra CCIs because we only need 3 CCIs on our price chart. And then we go here to the inputs tab, and here for the first CCI we set the length at 11. For the second CCI we set the length at 34. And for the third CCI we set the length at 200. And then we go to the style tab, and here for the first CCI we change the color to red, and then for the second CCI we change the color to green, and then for the third CCI we change the color to yellow. We also increase the thickness of the lines so they will be better visible on our price chart. And after that, here for overbought and oversold, here for overbought it should be from 90 to 120. And here for oversold from minus 90 to minus 120. And then here for the center line, we change the color to white so we can see it. And after that, here for overbought and oversold, for the colors, here we increase their opacity to 50%. Alright, we're done with the settings of our CCIs, and now let me teach you how you can find accurate buy-sell signals based on this. But before that, I'm proud to announce that recently I published a book, The Art of Price Action Trading, which is a complete guide to price action analysis. The link is in the description and you can get it later if you want to master price action trading. Alright, getting back to our indicators. So here we have 3 CCIs. We have this red line, which is a short-term CCI with length of 11. Then we have this green line, which is a mid-term CCI with length of 34. And then we have this yellow line, which is a long-term CCI with length of 200. Please pay attention that this short-term, mid-term, and long-term that I mentioned is relative to your time frame. You can use this combination of CCIs on any time frame and relative to your time frame. The red line will show you the short-term momentum changes, the green line will show you the mid-term momentum changes, and the yellow line will show you the long-term momentum changes in the market. So we're going to use this yellow line for trend identification, and then by the help of these red and green lines we will find buy-sell signals within the trend. But before teaching you how to interpret this and use it for finding trading opportunities, I want to add one more indicator for more confirmation. So here we click on indicators and we search Andean Oscillator, this one, which is an editor specs indicator and written by Alex Grover. Alright, this is Andean Oscillator, which is added here below the chart, and it's gonna help us with more confirmation and filtering the false signals that may happen during reversal points of the market. Everything is already set on the chart, and now let me teach you how you can find buy-sell signals by the help of this trading strategy. As I explained earlier, this yellow line will help us with trend identification. When it is below the center line, the trend is down and we should look for short position opportunities, and when the yellow line is above the center line, the trend is up and we should look for long position opportunities. Here in this part of the chart, you can see that the yellow line is below the center line, telling us that the trend is down, and so we should look for short position opportunities. In the next step, we wait for the green line and red line to go above the center line. We want both of the green and red lines to be above the center line. This shows that probably a pullback is forming on the chart, so we have an opportunity to open a short position. In the next step, we want crossing of the red line below the yellow line. When this happened and the red line is closed below the yellow line, this shows that probably the pullback ended and the price is going to decline more. But we have 2 more conditions before we enter a trade. trade. When the red line is closed below the yellow line should be below the center line, and the yellow line should not be below the green zone. In other words, the yellow line should not be oversold. So when the red line is closed below the yellow line should be between the center line and this green zone. And the next condition is that here in Andean Oscillator, the green line should not be above the other two lines. In other words, Andean Oscillator should not show upside momentum and upside movement of the price. Our sell signal is confirmed if either the orange line is above the other two lines, which is the case here, or the red line is above the other two lines, which is the ideal situation because it shows downside momentum and movement of the price. I repeat one more time so you completely understand, because we have different layers of confirmation here in this trading strategy. When the yellow line is below the center line, the market is trending down and we should look for short position opportunities. In the next step, we want both of green and red lines above the center line. This shows a probable pullback, and in the next step we wait for crossing of the red line below the yellow line. When this happened and the red line is closed below the yellow line should be below the center line and above the green zone. In other words, it shouldn't be oversold. And then here in Andean Oscillator, the green line should not be above the other two lines. We should either have the orange line above the other two lines, which is the case here, or ideally the red line above the other two lines. So here the sell signal is confirmed, and in practice we could enter a short position here at this point when this new candle was opened. The stop loss above the previous swing high, above the pullback, and profit target at 1.5 risk to reward ratio. To show you one more example of a short position, here you can see that the red line still below the center line, and here we have both of green and red lines above the center line, telling us that probably a pullback is forming on the chart. In the next step, here you can see that the red line is closed below the yellow line, and the yellow line still below the center line and above the green zone. In other words, it is not oversold, as you can see. And for the final confirmation here in Andean Oscillator, you can see that the orange line is above the other two lines. So the sell signal here is confirmed, and in practice we could enter a short position at this point with the stop loss above the previous swing high, above the pullback, and profit target at 1.5 risk to reward ratio. Alright, now let me teach you the long position setup. When the yellow line is above the center line, it tells us that the market is trending up, so we should look for long position opportunities. In the next step, we wait for the green line and red line to go below the center line. Both of them should be below the center line at the same time, exactly like what happened here. This situation shows that probably a pullback is forming on the chart. In the next step, we wait for the crossing of the red line above the yellow line. When this happened and the red line is closed above the yellow line should be above the center line, but not in the red zone or above that. In other words, it shouldn't be overbought. And for the final confirmation here in Andean Oscillator, the red line should not be above the other two lines. In other words, the Andean Oscillator should not show downside momentum and decline of the price. So here we want either the orange line above the other two lines, which is the case here, or ideally the green line above the other two lines. So here the buy signal is confirmed, and in practice we could enter a long position here at this point with the stop loss below the previous swing low, below the pullback, and profit target at 1.5 risk to reward ratio. Let me show one more example so you completely understand. The yellow line still above the center line, so we want to find buy signals. Here you can see that both of green and red lines are below the center line, and then here the red line is closed above the yellow line, as you can see, and the yellow line is above the center line, and the yellow line is not overbought. You can see that it is below the red zone. And for the final confirmation here in Andean Oscillator, you can see that the orange line is above the other two lines. So here the buy signal is confirmed, and in practice we could enter a long position here at this point when this new candle was opened. And this is also a profitable trade, as you can see. Please pay attention that although this trading strategy is very accurate and we have different layers of confirmation, but it doesn't mean you will not have false signals. There is no trading trading strategy with 100% win rate, and losing positions are always part of the game, and you need to manage your risk properly. There is a risk management strategy that is called 1% rule, and it's one of the best risk management strategies that you can use. I have a complete guide on this. The link is also placed in the description, and I highly recommend you to watch it, because without a proper risk management strategy, you cannot become a consistently profitable trader. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and leave a comment for me. I'll answer your questions as soon as possible. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell so you get the notifications of my new videos. See you guys in next video, and good luck with your trading.